Welcome back, year one, to your histories on houses. Okay, so now we'd met Mr. Fitzwilliams, hadn't we? And he was talking about symmetrical Georgian houses. So now bricks were more affordable. So most houses were built from bricks. Towns were becoming much bigger and busier, and these are Georgian townhouses. What type of house is this? That's right, it's a terraced house. Lots of houses all together. Now, the other thing as well that these houses had was big glass windows. Can you see? They had small window panes, and that was becoming more affordable too. So they'd moved away from just having the space where the window would go, and it'd been very, very expensive, to now being able to afford the windows. And these windows could open as well. That's a new thing too, isn't it? They started to have windows that have sashes that go up, which means it's a window, and you can pull the window up and down like that. Let's have a look at some other houses. Here's some Georgian houses. Can you remember about the symmetrical thing? If we look at this one here and we cut this house in half, it would be the same on both sides. And exactly like this one too. If we cut it in half, it'd be the same on each side. The Georgians loved to have symmetrical houses. And they reminded me of very square houses. Now, Doll's house were often represented as a Georgian house because of the symmetricalness of the house. And it was very easy to create a nice cube that then could be opened. And that's what Georgian houses remind me of. Do they remind you of that too? Let's have a look at some more. Here's Horace. He lived in Victorian times when Queen Victoria ruled Britain. And during this time, lots of factories started popping up in towns and cities, which meant lots of houses needed to be built for workers. So these terraced houses here, they were built for poor Victorian workers. And they were very quick to build, very cheap to build as well, because it was just one long row of houses. Now, when we have a look at this house, and that's something I did forget to mention on the Georgian houses, those houses and some Tudor houses are still standing today. They're still habitable today. People still live in them. I live in a Victorian terrace. It's similar to this, but mine isn't as long, and I actually have a driveway in front of mine where it would have been a little courtyard, a little garden before. So these are Victorian terraced houses. They're very different if we look back to the Georgian terraced houses, aren't they? How many floors does the Georgian terraced house does? Has the ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. Lots of rooms in that house. Where if we look at the terraced house here with the Victorian times, there was only the ground floor and the first floor. Now again, can you see there's not many windows in here? Just one window in the front downstairs and one window in the top upstairs. That's the same as my house. I only have one window in my front room downstairs and one window in my bedroom upstairs. And in the back of the house, it's the same. One window in my living room and one window in my bedroom. However, there were other different styles of houses as well in Victorian time. There wasn't all terrace like this. They also had houses like this. So, as I said, lots of Victorian houses are still lived in today. They're still inhabited today. And you can often spot Victorian houses by the beautiful bay windows. And the bay windows are windows that come out and curve around. I often say they're the best place for a Christmas tree in a bay window. And bay windows are a big feature of the house. So this is a typical Victorian townhouse made with bricks, and the windows are sash windows, and they open by sliding them up, which is what I talked about earlier, wasn't it? Now this is very ornate. Can you see the different colour bricks around the windows? It was to make a feature of the windows and of the front door. And in Victorian times, they wanted to make a bit of a fashion statement about their houses. Now, I've got some more Victorian houses to show you. But let's have a look at this one first. The richest Victorians love to make their houses as fancy as possible with as much detail as possible. And they took their ideas from lots of other periods, so that means lots of other times and from the past and from other countries. So this is a little bit similar to possibly a German house at that time, but can you see how they have created the bricks to make a pattern in the walls? Now here's some different Victorian houses. I've got here a detached Victorian house. That would have cost lots and lots of money. And here we've got our terraced houses. And here we've got another detached house. Now, people still live in these houses today. They were built very, very strong, and they were very set up for living how we live today. There was an upstairs and a downstairs. There was space to build a bathroom. Although in Victorian times, they didn't have a bathroom on the inside. They used to have to get a bath, a tin bath, bring it in and put it in front of the fire to have their bath. And their toilet was outside. I know. Imagine having to go out in the rain. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a quick overview. Oh, let me pop myself up in that corner there. And we're just going to review what each house had. So the medieval houses, they had a straw roof, stone walls, and one room. And there's not many left, and you couldn't live in one today. They're not habitable. The Tudor houses had either clay tiles or a straw roof, a thatched roof. They had wooden beams with mud and straw squished between and then painted white. They had more rooms than a medieval house, and sometimes they might have even had an upstairs. And some are left and they're still habitable today, so some people still live in them today. And then we've got the Georgian houses. And the Georgian houses have clay roof tiles, brick walls, because now bricks were less expensive. They have glass windows, and they're much bigger than the previous houses. And many are still habitable today. That means lots of people still live in them today. And then we had Victorian houses, and they had the same clay roof tiles, brick walls, glass windows, and some had stained glass. And stained glass means they had different coloured glass and pretty pictures into the glass. And there were curved, fancy bay windows. They were quick to build, and there were many, many are still lived in today. So what you're going to do today, children, is you're going to have a go. Oh, let me just read this slide first. So sorry about that. So people still live in lots of the houses that were built a long time ago. Have you ever seen any of these types of houses? Today we build houses that are fashionable to us. But if you could design a house, what would it look like and why? And maybe that could be like an extra piece of work if you want to do that. So your work today, we'll get there in a minute, won't we? Okay, so you have this as your worksheet, and you've got all the different time periods: medieval, Tudor, Georgian, Victorian, modern, and you're going to draw a little picture in here, and then you're going to write a sentence about each of the houses. Now, there's also modern here, which means the houses that we have today. So you can choose what kind of picture you'd like to draw there. Now, what you might want to do is you might want to go back and have a look through this video again and have a look at all the features that each of the different houses have, just so you remember what kind of roof a medieval house has. Was a Georgian house symmetrical, or was that Victorians? And did a Tudor house have a bay window? Those are things that you might need to go back and have a look at again. So you're going to complete your worksheet, drawing a little picture, and then writing a sentence about each of the houses. And you can choose what you'd like to write. Then, if you want to, as an extra piece of work, you can design your very own house. I wonder what it would look like. Will it look similar to the houses we've looked at today from the past, or will it look like a futuristic house? I really look forward to hearing about your work, Year 1. You take care now and have a wonderful day. See you very soon. Bye.